The Zodiac Killer terrorized Northern California in the late 1960s and early 70s. He is confirmed to have murdered at least 5 people. Many more attacks were attributed to him, creating widespread panic. His victims were often young couples in secluded areas. The attacks seemed random, which added to the public's fear. He operated with a chilling confidence, managing to evade police capture. The intense media coverage amplified the terror, making the Zodiac a household name. His shadow loomed large over the communities he targeted, leaving a legacy of fear that persists even today. The Zodiac Killer communicated directly with newspapers and the police. He sent many taunting letters, often to the San Francisco Chronicle. In these letters he boasted about his crimes and threatened more violence. He demanded that his letters and sometimes his ciphers be published on the front page. If they were not, he promised to go on a killing rampage. The Zodiac used a distinctive crossed circle symbol as his signature. He frequently claimed to have more victims than were officially confirmed. This communication was a key part of his psychological warfare against society and law enforcement. Ciphers were an integral part of the Zodiac's campaign of terror. These coded messages were not just puzzles, they were psychological weapons. He used them to boast, to confuse investigators, and to instill further fear in the public. The first major cipher, known as Z408, was sent in 3 parts to different newspapers in July 1969. It was solved relatively quickly by a schoolteacher, Donald Harden, and his wife, Betty. The decoded message revealed the killer's chilling motivation. He found killing to be lots of fun. This initial success in decryption only set the stage for more complex and frustrating ciphers to come from the elusive killer. The ciphers became one of the most enduring aspects of the Zodiac case. They kept the mystery alive for decades, long after the last confirmed Zodiac murder. These coded messages fascinated amateur detectives, cryptographers, and the general public around the world. Each unsolved cipher represented a direct challenge from the killer. Many hoped that these ciphers held the key to new clues, perhaps even his identity. The ciphers ensured that the Zodiac Killer remained a subject of intense public fascination and speculation, cementing his place in criminal history as an enigmatic and terrifying figure. The Z340 cipher arrived in November 1969. The Zodiac Killer mailed it to the San Francisco Chronicle. It consisted of 340 strange, non-standard symbols arranged in a dense block. Unlike the earlier Z408 cipher, this one offered no immediate solution. Its appearance significantly increased public fear and the frustration of investigators. It was evident from the start that Z340 was far more complex than its predecessor. The Zodiac himself hinted that this particular cipher contained important information, possibly his name, making its solution highly sought after by everyone involved in the case or following its dark trail. Law enforcement agencies, including the FBI and local police departments, made initial attempts to crack Z340. Skilled cryptanalysts from government agencies also tried their hand, but they were stumped. The Zodiac used a confusing array of symbols, many of which were not standard letters or numbers. Traditional methods like simple frequency analysis, which helped solve the Z408, proved ineffective against Z340. Numerous theories about its structure and meaning emerged over the years. However, none of these theories led to a verifiable solution for a very long time. The cipher quickly gained a legendary status for its stubborn resistance to decryption. The Z340 cipher presented several specific cryptographic challenges. It was determined to be a homophonic substitution cipher, but with significant complexities. In such a cipher, plaintext letters can be replaced by multiple different symbols, making frequency analysis much harder. The Zodiac did not use a simple one-to-one mapping of symbols to letters. Furthermore, the arrangement of the symbols was not straightforward. It was not read simply from left to right and top to bottom. This complexity was clearly intentional, designed to thwart even experienced codebreakers. The sheer number of potential keys and reading patterns was astronomically large, making a brute force attack impractical without further insights. For 51 years, the Z340 cipher remained unsolved. It became a kind of holy grail for Zodiac case enthusiasts and amateur cryptographers worldwide. Generations of code breakers, both professional and amateur, attempted to unlock its secrets, but all failed. Its unsolved status contributed significantly to the Zodiac Killer's almost mythical and untouchable image. The cipher represented a tantalizing piece of evidence, a direct communication from the killer, lying in plain sight yet completely unreadable. The passage of so many decades only deepened the mystery surrounding Z340, making it one of the most famous unsolved codes in history. The breakthrough in solving the Z340 cipher came from an international team of private citizens. This team included David Oranchak, a software engineer from the United States, Sam Blake, a mathematician from Australia, and Jarl van Eyck, a warehouse operator and programmer from Belgium. Their effort was entirely voluntary, driven by a shared passion for cryptography and a desire to solve this historic puzzle. They collaborated across continents and time zones, pooling their diverse skills and knowledge. Their work built upon the efforts of many other researchers who had studied the cipher over the preceding decades, demonstrating the power of shared intellectual pursuit. The team did not rely on a single magic bullet to crack the code. Instead, they employed a combination of sophisticated, code-breaking software and meticulous analytical techniques. Jarl van Eyck's specialized software, known as decrypt, was particularly instrumental. This program could rapidly test thousands of different decryption hypotheses and potential reading paths. The team also explored a vast array of transposition methods and complex reading patterns. Their approach required a deep understanding of historical ciphers, as well as insights into the Zodiac Killer's likely psychological patterns and methods. Extensive trial and error, coupled with computational power, formed the core of their strategy. The critical discovery involved identifying the correct reading direction of the cipher's symbols. David Oranchak had been working on the Z340 for many years, exploring various avenues. The team eventually found that the cipher was read diagonally. The reading path started from the top left corner, then moved down one row and two columns over for the next symbol, repeating this pattern. This specific pattern, somewhat similar to a knight's move in chess, was one of many complex patterns they systematically tested. Once this unusual reading direction was applied to the grid of symbols, meaningful phrases and words began to emerge from the previously unintelligible jumble. The solution to Z340 was not found overnight. It was the culmination of years of dedicated work. For Oranchak, it was a pursuit spanning over a decade, while the intense, focused collaboration within the three-person team lasted for many months. They consistently shared their findings, rigorously tested each other's theories, and provided mutual motivation through periods of frustration. The successful decryption was officially announced in December 2020. This achievement powerfully highlighted the effectiveness of collaborative, open efforts in tackling extremely complex problems, even those that have remained unsolved for more than half a century, offering hope for other cold cases. The fully decoded message of the Z340 cipher reads as follows: I hope you're having lots of fun in trying to catch me that wasn't me on the TV show, which brings up a point about me. I'm not afraid of the gas chamber because it will send me to paradise all the sooner, because I now have enough slaves to work for me where everyone else has nothing when they reach paradise, so they are afraid of death. I'm not afraid because I know that my new life will be an easy one in paradise death. This message, once hidden, was now clear. The content of the Z340 message was largely consistent with the Zodiac Killer's previous communications. It contained his typical taunts directed at law enforcement and the public. The characteristic misspelling of paradise as paradise appeared multiple times, a quirk seen in his other writings. He referenced a television appearance, likely referring to a call-in to Jim Dunbar's AM San Francisco TV show in October 1969, where someone claiming to be the Zodiac spoke. The message reiterated his familiar themes, his supposed lack of fear of execution, and his bizarre belief that his murder victims would become his slaves in the afterlife. Crucially, however, the cipher did not reveal his name, disappointing many who hoped it would. The decryption of the Z340 cipher was a major breakthrough in the Zodiac case after 51 long years of silence from this particular piece of evidence. It served as a significant validation for the tireless efforts of cryptographers, both amateur and professional. While it did not identify the killer, the message provided another small, chilling window into the Zodiac's mindset during the period he was actively terrorizing California. For the families of his victims, the solution might have offered a small measure of progress, though true closure remains elusive as long as his identity is unknown. It proved that even extremely difficult historical ciphers could eventually yield their secrets with persistence and innovative techniques. Despite this success, some of the Zodiac's communications remain unsolved. Two shorter ciphers, often referred to as Z13, which begins with the tantalizing line, "My name is," and Z32 are still mysteries. These ciphers are extremely short, which makes them incredibly difficult to crack using traditional cryptographic methods due to the limited amount of statistical data they provide. If the Z13 cipher were ever solved, it could potentially reveal the Zodiac's name or a significant clue to his identity. The successful cracking of Z340 offers a glimmer of hope that these final coded messages might also one day be understood, perhaps finally unveiling the last secrets of the Zodiac Killer, whose true identity remains the ultimate unsolved puzzle in this disturbing case.